we welcome you back to Newsmax Now. British voters and political party leaders flocking to the polls today. Some are calling this election in the UK unprecedented. David Cameron and his Tories are clinging to control of Parliament, but that could all change by the end of the day. Actually, the race is so close, no party is expected to win outright tonight. And joining us now for more is Ken Chandler, the executive editor of Newsmax. And Ken, it's great to see you again.
Hey, John, how are you? I'm
doing well. So these elections come at a pivotal time, not just for the UK, but for Europe and even the U.S. and our national security. Ken, let's first talk about the UK, because supposedly there's been a late push by the UKIP party, which is the Independence Party, and the leader of that party is a guy named Nigel Farage. He's not moving in to the Prime Minister's residence, but is he going to have an impact, and will the UK stay united?
Well, he may well do. You know, he represents what you would be the equivalent in this country of the Tea Party. Very strong positions, anti-immigration. They are a relatively small player at the moment. They hold, I think, 1 seat in the House of Commons. They may grab 2 or 3. But in this kind of crazy situation you have at the moment, where no major party is going to probably get a majority, you know, anything could happen, and Farage could become a player.
All right, well, also in this discussion is Scotland, and it's home to the UK's submarine fleet. There is a Scottish Nationalist Party, and there's also talk about Scotland leaving the United Kingdom. You know, there's also dwindling support and spending on military in Europe and in the UK. Right. Now, we've heard the Pentagon saying that UK, including Europe, including the UK, need to step it up and contribute more to NATO. Will this election have any impact on that?
Well, yes, indeed, because here's what's happening. You know, the UK is voting today. By this time tomorrow, we'll probably know how many seats each party has won. But almost certainly, neither of the major parties will have won a sufficient number of seats to get a majority. So then they're going to have to start horse trading with these regional parties, like the Scottish National Party. The Scottish National Party has only 7 seats at the moment, but the polls predict they could win as many as 57. They'd win every parliamentary seat in Scotland, which would make them very powerful. They are anti-nuclear. They want the nuclear base, which is now in Scotland, to be shut down. And they could have a very detrimental effect on a British government if they were part of a coalition, probably with the Labour Party.
All right, so, you know, again, David Cameron might end up, and the Tories might end up winning and retaining control of the Parliament, but because the power will be more spread out against different parties and based on the number of seat changes that could happen, does that essentially weaken David Cameron and his ability, or anybody else's ability, to have some sort of clear defined goal on what they're trying to accomplish with the new government?
Yes, it's going to, whichever party is in power is going to be weak, probably. And particularly if it's David Cameron, if he retains his position, you know, he's going to have to cut deals with these regional parties. And a lot of people are saying that he could be so weak that there could be another general election later this year, because this one may not resolve anything.
And so they'd have to do it all over again. And what is...
They'd have to do it all over again, yes.
And we here in the United States, there's a lot of grumblings about our electoral college situation, but when you look at parliamentary elections, and you know, even in Israel, which what has played out with Benjamin Netanyahu, it can really make us glad that we have the system we do, right?
Yeah, well, parliamentary systems work well when you've got 2 strong parties, but once you get into this coalition situation, anything can happen, and it does lead to weaker governments.
All right, well, David Cameron, a lot of folks might be familiar with him, but the other 2 candidates that are in play here, including Nick Clegg and Ed Miliband, they all basically look the same, so it might not look different to Americans, no matter who wins the election tomorrow.
Well, they all went to the same schools, so yeah, there's not much to choose between them.
All right, Ken Chandler, thanks so much for being with us, and we'll have the results here on Newsmax coming up later today. All right, we're going to shift gears now real quickly before we say goodbye to a segment we like to call You're Not Helping, and we start with this.
I usually tell a bunch of jokes at these events, but with the Patriots in town, I was worried that 11 out of 12 of them would fall flat.
All right, that was the president there with the New England Patriots at the White House to celebrate their Super Bowl championship. But as you've heard, a little trouble for the Patriots today. The NFL, and a new report out yesterday, says the team almost certainly used underinflated balls during last season's AFC Championship game. That is a league violation. The 233-page report also says that Brady, quote, at least generally was aware of this scheme. Tom Brady, if you're trying to make people think that the Patriots are cheaters, you're not helping. And in Texas, is it in danger of being invaded by the U.S. government? It might seem so if you ask Texas Governor Greg Abbott, trying to train in areas similar to overseas theater. U.S. Army Special Ops, they're trying to conduct these exercises in Texas and surrounding states. It's called Operation Jade Helm 15, but Governor Abbott says he wants to ensure the safety and rights of all Texans during the exercise. The Pentagon says it has no intention of invading the Lone Star State. Even Senator Ted Cruz says he's checked out the situation and he's convinced everything is fine. And also former Governor Rick Perry says the military is quite trustworthy, and maybe Abbott is not helping the military, particularly in this matter. More coming up here on Newsmax Now. John Bachman here. Miranda Khan will be back. We're going to take a look at Carly Fiorina, what's going on with her websites, plus much more.